Steady start to the week as the benchmark stays in the positive territory with broader indices outperforming and VIX sharply cooling off. All major benchmarks are in the positive territory with weakness seen in private banks due to earnings-led moves.
Sun Pharma jumps after announcing the $11.7 billion acquisition of Pharma-Organon, boosting its global scale and entry into biosimilars and women's health. Synergies are expected over the next few years.
Paytm is down sharply after the RBI cancelled its payments bank's banking license, with reports suggesting a winding up process may follow. The company clarified there is no financial impact as the payments bank was already effectively shut. Brokerages remain constructive on the core business.
Mixed trends across lenders, Axis Bank slips and weaker operating performance and higher provisions. Despite the stable asset quality, M&M Finance jumps on strong profit growth and improving asset quality, with Shriram Finance declines as margins miss the estimates.
Cohance Life surges after appointing Umang Vora as executive chairperson and group CEO, signaling a strong push for growth. Meanwhile, Rubicon gains after its Canada R&D facility cleared a US FDA inspection with zero observations.
And MRPL declines after a weak quarter, with EBITDA plunging over 35% sequentially on higher costs and lower throughputs, while the margins saw a sharp contraction. On the other hand, India Cement surged after a strong turnaround, with EBITDA margins expanding sharply.
Hello and welcome. You're watching Buy Now, Sell Now. I'm with you, Kavita Thapliyal, and me is Ankita Saxena. And next 1 hour is going to be all about your stock-specific question. That's right. If you want to make the most of this particular show, send across your questions. We will flash our WhatsApp number on the screen where you can get connected even now live and send across your questions. Write on the name of the stock, the price at which you've bought it, and the timeline till which you want to be in that particular investment. We have a fundamental as well as technical expert on the show who will guide you as per your time horizon on the stock purchase. 865-797-4571 is the number where you can send your questions quickly. But before we get connected with our experts, let's quickly get a market check where the market is very range bound, but then yes, a steady start to the week we can say. Benchmarks are in the positive territory. We are looking at 24,063 levels, almost 0.5% up on the Nifty. Bank Nifty again quite flat, but 56,100 is the level. Broader market is doing comparatively better, with both mid cap 100 and small cap 100 almost up close to 2%. Even sectorally, we are seeing across the board good momentum, except for the private bank index, where we are looking at almost 1/4% cuts. But look at healthcare, consumer durable, oil and gas, defense, almost up 1.5 to 0.5% in today's trade. Stock specific action where we can see today. Definitely impact of numbers. NLC India gains almost 5% as company emerged as preferred bidder for two phosphorite and limestone blocks in Chhattisgarh under the Tranche V auction. We are also looking at automotive stamping advances over 10% on the back of strong Q4 results. Anant Raj is also almost 4% up as ED visits over investment disposal probe. And company says operation remain unaffected and business continues normally. That's a statement coming in from the company. But it's almost 5.5% up in today's trade. So far, we are also looking at rental decline, which is declining almost 2.8% as company recorded weak Q4 results. PAT, we saw down almost 20% year on year, and EBIT margin down almost 230 bips. So that's the action, very stock specific. The markets are steady and pretty range bound. But let's get connected with our experts. We have Jigar Patel and Gaurang Shah with us to talk more on the market and answer your stock-specific questions. Hi, morning, and welcome both of you to the show. Before we dive into our viewer queries, Gaurang, a quick market take and at the beginning of the week.
Hi, Kavita. Thank you so much for having me on your show. Good morning to all your viewers and to all of you all. A small disclosure, all recommendations that I'll be sharing with you this morning on your show, Kavita, they're part of our fundamental research stream recommendations from a long-term point of view. Our company, Jojit, or myself, we do not have any kind of personal investments, no financial interest, no conflict of interest, but we share similar investment ideas with our clients. They might have their investment interest. So I think market's good to see steadiness, Kavita, this morning after last week's choppiness and volatility. And like over the last 7 to 8 odd weeks, global markets and our markets are reacting to what developments are in the Middle East and what are the statements made by Iran, US as far as de-escalation and a dialogue is concerned. Q4 earnings is something that will add a little bit of shade and color to the markets depending upon which way the earnings go. Of course, last weekend, Axis Bank and Reliance numbers were not up to the mark, what Street has expected, but nevertheless, it was not as disappointing as well. I think broad range for the market, 23,800, 23,900 on the lower side, 24,200 to 24,300 on the higher side. Stock specific, sector specific, earning specific, Kavita, will be the spotlight.
All right, Gaurang, thank you so much for weighing in on the market. So a steady day is what Gaurang is saying for today. It's good to see that. But let's get going and start taking all your questions. The number is still flashing on top of your screen, so start sending in your questions, the bank price holding period, and we'll get them answered by a fundamental and a technical expert. The first question that's coming in on WhatsApp is Ashwarya is writing into us. She says she has a corpus of 3 crores with 2 crores in equity. Any advice to build my corpus? Okay, so that's the question. And she also says that she has started pretty late in life to start investing. Okay, she's already put in 2 crores into equity. She wants to know how should she perhaps park 1 more crore because she has 3 crores to go. Gaurang, what would be your advice?
Ankita, better late than never, right? At least you are woken up to the brighter side of life. Having said that, what we don't know, Ankita, is where has her investments parked, or where has she invested sectorial, themes, or which are the individual companies that she has invested. The question is, where do I invest another 1 crore? Now, unfortunately, I will have very limitations in terms of guiding her, but yeah, sectorially speaking, Ankita, I think financials, that is BFSI segment, public sector bank, private sector banks, and strong NBFCs, that would be one sector. Second sector would be defense. Third would be capital markets related. Fourth would be power generation. And fifth would be, if I have a little bit of more elevated risk appetite, then autos. So she can look at frontline names in these 4 or 5 odd sectors that I've mentioned. In case if she doesn't have a decent allocation of the earlier 2 crores that she's invested into the market. One more thing, don't ever overexpose or focus a lot on any particular sector or company, because that also creates an elevated risk appetite.
Absolutely, Gaurang. But Gaurang, one more important question to ask here is, since it's a huge amount that she wants to get in with, what should be the debt equity ratio for that matter? Okay, we'll come back to this, but there's a Sun Pharma presser that's underway. Dilip Sanghvi, chairman, is speaking right now. Let's quickly listen into what he has to say, and then we'll come back and answer your questions.
For that acquisition through cash, but we paid for that acquisition through a much more expensive currency. We paid through our stock. And dilution to Sun Pharma shareholders was close to 20%. Kirti will present the details to you about both the companies, and you will see that Organon in terms of size is more or less the same as that of Sun Pharma. In terms of profitability is maybe even little bit higher than Sun Pharma. However, the transaction values Organon at less than 25% of the Sun valuation. So the key difference in my mind is the difference in our growth trajectory. Sun has been consistently growing and Organon has not been growing. So we know that for us to create value, the key driver is to find a way to grow this business much better than what it has been able to do. It will possibly require some investment, some focused effort to improving processes, and also many of the other tools that Kirti says we plan to use so that we can reignite the growth of the company. But what is more important for me is that it gives us a global presence. It gives us a ability to license products globally. Also launch many of the products that we already have in our pipeline in many geographies that we are not currently present in. And those are interesting geographies. However, I think some of the concerns that people have expressed to me are related to large size of debt that we might have to raise to pay for the company. We will be, of course, using our own cash, but we will also have to raise some significant debt. So I think I want to remain objective. This debt, even though large in terms of overall size, it's still going to be 2.3 times the combined company EBITDA. And we have a focused effort towards finding a way to minimize the debt by finding a way to repay the debt as early as possible. I mean, all of you who've been tracking the company for a long time, you know that we've been either a low debt or maybe a significant cash positive company for a long time. And even the debt that we got as a result of Ranbaxy acquisition, we found a way to repay it in the shortest possible time. So that would be our effort, that would be our focus. But we will still have ability to do business development deals, and we will focus on investing our investable surplus into products which are close to market and products in therapy areas of our interest. The other important issue is the ability to repay the debt. I think Kirti and Jayashree will share with you what you call combined company cash flows and what is it that we can theoretically achieve. Other important issue is the dividends that we pay. We know that for investors, especially who invest in emerging market, dividend is one of the attraction for them to invest. So whatever decision that we will take for what to do with the future dividend policy, we will factor this preference and liking of our shareholders while we take a decision, and we will keep people informed. As on today, when we've done the cash flow calculations and our desire to repay the debt, I think we've kept a provision so that we will continue to have the dividend maintained. But I think greater clarity for all of you and also subsequently questions from you will help people understand the logic of the transaction and also why we see ability to create significant value for Sun shareholders as the time passes. So thank you.
Good morning, and thank you for coming on such a short notice. Today I feel very excited and very proud. This is a historic day in Sun journey as we are accelerating the Sun's transformation toward becoming a global pharma company. I think in next 15-20 minutes I will try to explain you the deal rationales and what is a compelling story, why these two companies are coming together, and we'll also take some of your questions, some of your doubt. So that should also help you to understand the rationale behind acquisition of Organon. So there are initial few slides about Sun. I will run them through fast and then talk more about Organon. These are some disclaimers and forward-looking statements. So all of you know Sun well. We are like a $6 billion company present in 100 countries. We are number one in India. We are number one in another 2-3 geographies like Romania. And 20% of our business comes from innovation. So what we have been focusing for last few years is to increase the innovative part of the business. And then we have a strong balance sheet, $3 billion for cash as on FY25. So this is all about Sun. That is a business part. Second is, like you know, Sun is all driven by values of Sunology. We always focus on patients. I always look at how do we solve unmet needs of patients? How do we come with new product which will solve some of the patients' problems? And third thing which is important is the execution rigor. And Sun has been doing things well, executing it well, and that helps company to grow to the next level. If we look at our track record, which Dilip Bhai also mentioned, is acquisition of Taro, Ranbaxy. I think post-acquisition, we did well. We grew the business. We also integrated the team well on both the side. And the new Sun, which was formed, was growing faster than what we used to go earlier. This is a history of Sun, and these are not all the milestones, but major milestones is like, which includes the acquisition of the companies on the top, and on the bottom is some of the major licensing deals, what we have done. So 2010 around, we acquired Taro. Then, of course, DUSA was entry into dermatology. Then in 2015, Ranbaxy, which was also like same size of the company. We were 2 billion. Ranbaxy was also 2 billion at that point of time. And then Concert and Checkpoint acquisition happened recently. Incidentally, the Illumia product, which we have licensed from Merck, was developed by Organon. So this is just a coincidence, like we are acquiring a company which developed this product historically a few years back. So what we have seen in last, say 15 years, if you can focus on the bottom part of the slide, is like from 2010 to 2025. Our CAGR of revenue is 14.4%, and the EBITDA is also in line, almost like 13%. So consistently, the objective for the business is to continuously grow the business, and sometimes some of the businesses are also growing faster than the market. What's Organon? And I will spend maybe a couple of minutes on this slide because earlier part was more on Sun. So Organon has 3 business verticals. One is a women's health. And women's health is mostly an innovative part of business. In women's health, in contraception, they are number 2. In fertility, they are number 3. So that's one part of the business. Next big part is the established product business, which is almost like 50%. And there are strong 50 brands. Some of the brands I will also show is like a household name. Every SCP, doctors, patient knows this brand. And out of these 50 brands, 15 brands, 15 brands are large size, and that is 100 million and above. What Organon also helps us is our entry into biosimilars. So we become like the number 7 players worldwide in biosimilars. I think the next point is most important, is what I will keep repeating throughout my presentation, is what Organon is giving to Sun, is a global commercial presence and a global platform to commercialize our existing product as well as future products. And it also gives us entry in some of the markets where we are not present today. And one notable market is China. And I will talk about more details in China going forward. In terms of manufacturing footprint, Organon has 6 sites, 3 of them in the EU and 3 in the emerging market, and has a good manufacturing footprint where most of the product they are able to manufacture on their own. So this is a business part, but even if you look at financially, it's a very stable EBITDA company where the margins are in excess of 30% over last 5 years. And they are generating free cash flow of about $1 billion. And most important is the history of any company. Like Organon has a legacy of more than 100 years. And in these 100 years, they have developed complex products. They have developed complex biologics, like I said, Illumia. Like that, new biologics were also developed in Organon in the past. So all of these things, how does it help Sun to achieve our transition and go to the next level is what will follow in the next part of the presentation. So three parts of the business, women's health and some other innovative products. So the top four products are women's health product. The biggest product is Nexplanon, which is a contraception used for 5 years. Then we have product like Folistim, which is also into women's health fertility. Then there are two products. One is Imgality and Vitama. They are for, say, migraine, and Vitama is for dermatology. So this is almost like 33% of the current revenues of Organon. But more important is a central piece, which is established product. And some of you may be very familiar with some of these brand names like Zetia, Atozet, Hyzar, Kozar, Singular. These are like, though they are not like a consumer product, but they are recognized brands and well-known brands across the world, not only in India, but mostly outside India. This part of established brand contributes almost 55% of the business. And third area, which is also equally interesting, and I will explain you in more detail, is biosimilar. So currently they have 5-6 products in biosimilar, and that contributes around 11% of the revenues. So coming to all three areas, I will explain. Like women's health is a large unmet needs. So today the market size is almost like 35 billion, growing at 6 to 10%. And there are more than 100 opportunities or assets which are under development in women's health. So what I'm trying to say, for growth of the business on women's health side, we may have to do future licensing, and such assets are also available. And this is an area where the complexity of developing product is also very high. So for somebody to really replicate or come with a generic product is always has been challenging.
So that's the press conference on Sun Pharma acquiring Organon in all-cash deal, and now definitely the portfolio, the health portfolio as far as Sun Pharma is concerned, will be expanding towards women health portfolio with access to Organon's portfolio of more than 70 products across women's health and general medicines commercialized across 140 countries. But then what should be your strategy going ahead? Gaurang, let me just come to you. You heard the press conference also. What's going to be your take going ahead?
So, Kavita, look, first of all, this is not new. And as we were listening into Mr. Sanghvi in his opening speech, as far as this acquisition is concerned, they did Ranbaxy many years back. Then after that, they did Taro. And now you have this one. If you look at the history of all these acquisitions, then over the period of time, the synergies play in and it starts contributing to the top line and bottom line and the overall business growth. When the news came out, I think about week 10 days back, there was a negative reaction because the market felt that they have paid a big price for this acquisition. But then, of course, we had clarity, and I think today, as the management was giving a little bit of more in-depth analysis of this acquisition and how it is going to add, I think the nerves have soothed to a great extent. As a disclosure, we do have positive coverage on Sun Pharma for a very long time, and we continue to have that positive coverage. And my sense of Kavita is that, all these, when you take over a size of this kind of a company, for integration and synergies to play out, it takes time. So we have to give it to the wisdom and the knowledge of the management of any company, not only Sun Pharma, when they do these kind of acquisitions, large acquisitions, Kavita.
Okay, we have to quickly take a short break, but don't worry, we'll come back and we'll discuss more on the stocks and of course Sun, but after this short break. Stay tuned. Welcome back. You're tuned into Buy Now Sell Now, where we get all your stock-specific questions answered. The number is still flashing on top of your screens, so don't forget to write into us. Now, we have a live caller who's joining us, Phanindra, who's joining us from Hyderabad. Hi, good morning. Phanindra, thank you so much for joining us today. Tell us what's your question.
Good morning. Yeah, this is regarding Tech Mahindra, which I have acquired when I was working there as a stock option. This was more than 20 years ago. I held on to them through the certain crisis and so on. And I currently have 2,000 shares with the cost of acquisition would be around 70 rupees.
Okay.
Now, my question is, the price has been varying quite widely of late. And I'm not sure how long I should hold this, if I should sell this or just keep quiet. What is my option?
Okay, great. Firstly, congratulations to you on the stellar profits that you've earned if you've bought it at 70 rupees. Gaurang, he wants to know what should he do with Tech M, because Tech M hasn't done much, and plus what are the future prospects, because, given, the influx of AI and the impact that it has had on the tech companies, Tech Mahindra, in the larger scheme of things, where is that placed, and should he hold on to it, or he's made enough profits? Should he really book his profits now?
Well, so Ankita, look, the cost of acquisition is virtually negligible given the long period of investment in Tech Mahindra, and by the virtue of whatever bonuses, dividend splits. I can't recall 20 years what was the kind of bonuses, splits, and dividends that were given, but I'm quite sure the acquisition cost as of now would be negligible. Having said that, 20 years is what I heard the time, right? Gentleman has got invested in Tech Mahindra, and he's got almost all the benefits that a long-term investor can get. We have a whole recommendation, Ankita, but let me clarify over here. The golden period of IT sector giving you better returns compared to other sectors is, according to me, I may be wrong, is now in the past. It is in the rearview mirror. Why do I say that? Like you rightly mentioned, there are going to be a number of new challenges that are going to come up in terms of innovation and technology modernization. As and when such events unfold at the international level, we will be able to gauge the positive or the negative impact, depending upon which way the product is or the platform is going to line up. So you need to have this idea absolutely clear that historical track record of returns will not be replicated now going into the future because of the challenges. It remains to be seen, Ankita, which company evolves itself and makes it relevant in terms of delivery. That is very difficult to preempt now because we don't know the future. So as of now, we have a hold.
All right, Tech Mahindra holds. That's the strategy that's given by Gaurang. Mr. Parth Anand is on the phone line with us. Hi, good morning.
Good morning, madam. Madam, one request to you. Please ask Gaurang Shah. He suggests me 666 share PNC Infra at average price 315 and share India Scotty 350 share at 197.
Okay. All right. You want to hold it for how long?
Yes, madam.
For how long you want to hold it?
But I have long for 2 years only.
All right. Gaurang, do you still have the coverage on these ones?
Well, on PNC Infra, I think we do have coverage currently. Yeah, we do have coverage on PNC Infra. And I think he got in at a little bit of higher level. I could not read the acquisition price. But if it is at a higher level than where the stock is trading right now, and at that correction between the acquisition price and the current market price is anywhere between 5-10% or more, my humble request would be to average over here and bring down your cost of acquisition. I also heard him say that he has the longest time horizon. So with that kind of a time horizon, the strategy would be that at current levels, don't average completely. If you got, say, 100 shares, then at current levels, you may average about 25 or 50 shares. And if it comes below maybe 200 or 210, then you can average a little bit more. That will actually bring the acquisition price quite effectively and stay invested for long term. The second company, Kavita, you need to help me. What was the name of the second company? Because I could not read that clearly. I could not hear that clearly as well.
Share India.
No, currently we don't have coverage on Share India, and I don't think I have recommended Share India to anybody because we never had this coverage.
All right. Jigar, you want to come in and give a technical take on these both counters?
See, first of all, PNC definitely the current structure looks like it has, given reversal on a bigger time scale. Having said that, the major support is somewhere near 215, and currently it is trading above that level. So I would advise to, try to add or buy in a staggered manner somewhere between 220 to 10. Keeping a stop loss of below 185, and overall for next 6 to 8 months, I'm able to see the target of somewhere near 323 in PNC Infra, and second stock is Share India. See, Share India, again, there has been a multiple bottoms form on weekly structure along with 3-point divergence, and there has been a tremendous solid support somewhere near 140, 130 zone. So I would recommend to buy at current level, keeping a stop loss of below 128, and overall upside is seen till 185, 186.
Jigar, that's the view on Share India and PFC. But let's quickly take a short break. We'll be right back and get your questions answered. Keep writing into us. We'll come back after the short break. Don't go anywhere.
Hi, welcome back. You're watching Buy Now, Sell Now, and we are connected with our live viewer from Hyderabad, Mr. Kiran. Hi, good morning. You can ask your question, please.
Yeah, thanks for connecting. I'm Kiran Kumar from Hyderabad. Just this, I want to know, like this Ind Solar stock, can I buy? If I can buy, like what should be the stop loss?
I'm assuming it's a short-term trade that you're looking at.
Short term means in the midterm, actually, like
Sure.
6 months to 1 year. Yeah.
Okay, 6 months to 1 year. All right, but then let's know the buying price. Jigar?
Is it Solar Industries?
Indo Solar.
Okay, Indo Solar. See, in Indo Solar, currently the structure is somewhere, in a corrective mode, but overall the kind of structure we are witnessing right now is a sort of corrective mode. Having said that, the moving average is almost 50-day exponential is currently providing support, and overall the momentum oscillators are, looking extremely oversold. And the price action is currently near the support of the previous breakout zone, somewhere near 450, 460. And currently the price is holding above 445 levels. So I would recommend him to, buy at current levels, keeping a stop loss of below 400 on daily closing basis. And the previous swing high, which is 543, that would be the target.
Okay, so that's the target for Indo Solar. I hope your question was answered for Kiran. But let's move on to a question that's coming on WhatsApp. Manoj from Doha is writing in. He says he has 1,700 shares of Phenolix Pipes at 172 rupees. Is there any more upside possible in the next 2 years, or should I switch? Phenolix Pipes, he's been holding in 172 is the buying price. For the next 2 years, Gaurang, coming to you, he wants to know the upside. Should he hold on to it? What should be his strategy?
Well, unfortunately, Kavita, we are positive on the sector, but we don't have coverage on Phenolix Pipes. Yeah, I'm not too sure whether he got the name right, because I don't see any company called Phenolix Pipes. There are two names, Phenolix Cables and Phenolix Industries, Kavita. I need clarification on this particular name of the company, Kavita. We don't have coverage on Phenolix Pipes, in case if that's the company that he's referring to.
Yeah, Gaurang, I believe it should be Phenolix Industries, given his buying price. It should be Phenolix Industries. Yeah, he says 172. So the Phenolix is sitting at 175 right now. So it has to be Phenolix Industries, we're assuming.
So we do have coverage on Phenolix Industries, if that is the company which we are discussing. We have a accumulate stance on Phenolix industries from a long-term point of view. My sense, Ankita, is that the entire हर घर में जल और हर नल से जल, the policy that has been implemented by the government at ground level, specifically with focus into semi-urban and rural India, is going to translate into positivities for pipe manufacturing companies. For example, Prince Pipes and Fittings, Phenolix Pipes, APL Apollo Pipes. These are the companies that will get benefited. So you need to have a longish term time horizon. So if you have that time horizon, hold on to Phenolix Industries from a long-term point of view.
All right, it's a hold and the time horizon should be long-term. This is Mr. Thomas from Chennai. He's got 100 shares of SRF at 1600. What should he be doing? Jigar?
See, in terms of SRF, I would, based on the structure on weekly scale, the gap, the bullish gap, which was created somewhere near 2025 Jan, it has been closed as of now, and there has been a multiple bullish divergence along with the support from yearly pivot. So I would, advise him to add at current levels, keeping a stop loss of below 2350 on daily closing basis, and first target would be 2800 followed by 2900.
All right, so that's the view on SRF. But with that, it's time for us to slip into a short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You tuned into Buy Now Sell Now, where we get all your stock-specific questions answered. Now let's move on to the question coming in on WhatsApp. Sridhar Shastri is writing in. He says he's bought 1,000 shares of HDFC Bank at 755. Should he hold or accumulate? Jigar, firstly, let's talk to you about, is this the right time to enter again? Like if he wants to accumulate more, would you recommend that? And he's not given his holding period, say for a period of 6 months to 1 year. What would be your outlook?
See, on HDFC Bank, again, there has been a tremendous beating from the top of 1,000 till almost 730. But overall, the structure is, intact because the major swing low of 700 has not been taken out on weekly basis. So as of now, definitely he can add because there has been a massive support near 750, 740 odd zone from 2000
level. Because I think even like what Jayashree explained, when we are raising the money or we will pay for the company, the debt to EBITDA is 2.3 times. It's not a very high debt ratio, even though the amount of debt would be significant. But we should be able to repay the debt within a reasonable period of time. And we've been disciplined about repaying debt in the past, and we'll continue to be disciplined post the closing of transaction. Maybe Kirti can respond to the next question.
Yeah, I think in my view, this is a very important question, Ekta. What you're asking is how do we grow business? And they have been stagnant for last 4 or 5 years, or a very small growth of 1 to 2%. So I think if you look at, they have 3 parts of the businesses, and innovation, they are big in terms of women health, then established brand and biosimilar. And I will explain you. In innovation side, on women's health also, they have done in licensing of a couple of new products. So there is a product called Medulla, and this is all in public domain. Then there is a product called Nilemdo, they have in license, so that business can grow from where it is today. That's one part of it. What I see as a much bigger opportunity is on innovation side is our ability to license products globally for the entire market, like for 140 countries on both in terms of women's health and other therapeutic areas. Second side on innovation is they also have a product called Vitama, which fits very well with our dermatology portfolio. And third product is Emgality, which is a different therapy area, is a migraine, but it's a good innovative product with a patent protection, and it has a long run-up to grow further. So now the Sun's responsibility, or I would say, is to how do we add more product into this basket that the innovation keeps growing. And that's possible for us to do, like in women's health, there are more than 100 opportunities. We all may not come to the market, but even if a couple of opportunities which are close to phase 3 or close to market, if we can in-license, this part of the business will grow. Second come the established product business, where the 50 or 51% of the revenue comes from it. There we have a lot of ideas in terms of line extension. These are very well-known brands. So if I launch a new line extension or new formulation or even new combination of the product, we can have this brand grow from where it is today. In some of the market they are growing, but this growth can even further fuel and do it. And third, of course, biosimilars, they are growing 13%, and biosimilar, as I explained you, is a much bigger opportunity. In terms of number of product getting LOE by 2035 is almost 320 billion. So we have to consistently and constantly look at what are the new biologics I can in-license and make them successful. It's a good business. They are worldwide ranked 7th, and we, with our licensing and our ability of marketing, we can improve this further also. So I think broadly for everyone, I think there is a good opportunity for us to grow this business from where it is today.
Anurag Joshi, ET Now. Congratulations on the deal, Mr. Sanghvi. I had two questions. Sun Pharma will be making a global entry into biosimilars. Could you give us more details about your strategy about growing the biosimilars business globally? You have a small business locally. In terms of the global pan out, what will that be? In terms of new markets, you mentioned China and South Korea. Again, the women's health business over there, how would you grow these business? That's one part of my question. My second question is on the debt. What will be the structure? What will be the remaining tenor for Sun Pharma to repay the debt, given the fact that you are a net debt zero company currently and you'll be taking debt on your books? And will this be a leverage buyout? Will you be taking the loan on the books of Organon?
So I think we've shared our view about biosimilars with investors in the past. The reason why we were not investing in biosimilars is there was no clarity about substitution as well as interchangeability. There is now greater regulatory clarity on both of these issues. At the same point of time, potential cost of registering a product is likely to come down because many of the products may qualify to potentially avoid clinical studies. Now that is the largest component of the investment required to bring a biosimilar to market. So this is something that we've been saying, that when there is greater clarity, it will justify the investments that are required. But if we have to develop our own biosimilar, then it's a minimum 6, 7, 8 years project. Because anything that you start developing will take time for coming to market. So I think like what Kirti says, we will continue to look out on opportunity to in-license product from people who have ability to bring this product to market to be in first to come to the market. So that is the focus and the priority. For rest of the question, I think finance and all, I think Jayashree can respond.
Sure. Organon has a debt, gross debt of about $8.5 billion, and with a cash of close to $900 million, the net debt is something that we would be looking at refinancing. At this point in time, our thought is also to work with your existing bondholders to see if there is a possibility for a swap. We have to go through this process over the next few months. And for the balance, we would be issuing fresh debt. So that is the way we are thinking.
Mr. Sanghvi?
Thank you.
So, can I request Satviki, do you have...
Sun Pharma speaking about the Organon acquisition and how the debt will be serviced the tenure of the debt and, of course, the topic of biosimilars and what is going to be the likely take of the management on that. So that was Sun Pharma's management weighing in on that. But let's move on and get back to answering all the questions. We were speaking to Jigar about HDFC Bank. Jigar, sorry for cutting you in. We had to cut into the presser, but talk to us about HDFC Bank and the levels to track.
See, currently HDFC, definitely there has been a tremendous support near 750, 740 odd zones. So as of now, I would recommend him to add at current levels, or even he can buy at current levels, following a stop loss of 730 on daily closing basis. But the buying would be, recommended between 790, 770 odd zone, and overall the upside is seen till 870. That would be the target.
All right, let's move on. Let's take Mahalakshmi's question. She's from Hyderabad. She's bought Maruti Suzuki at 6675. Is it advisable to sell and invest in Hyundai or Ashok Leyland for long term? Gaurang, I'll come to you for this.
Difficult one, Kavita, because we do have coverage on Maruti as well as Ashok Leyland. On Hyundai, we don't have a coverage. And I don't see, while Maruti remains to be one of the largest PV manufacturing companies in India, Ashok Leyland is a pure commercial vehicle play. We have coverage on both, so I won't be biased towards either one of them. And if you got in at Maruti at a lower level, maybe you can, giving the benefit of diversification, though it will be in the same sector, that is auto, but a different company. So, hold on to Maruti Suzuki. But if you're making decent returns and if you want to, sell part of Maruti and invest that part into Ashok Leyland, I would definitely recommend that since we have coverage on both.
Jigar, you want to come in and give the levels or maybe your strategy from a technical standpoint?
See, as of now, based on current structure of Maruti, I would recommend to book some profit in Maruti and invest that amount in Hyundai, because see, Hyundai already had a tremendous correction from 2800 till 1700 odd levels, and currently the price action is taking support near 78.6% of retracement from April 2025 till date. So there has been a tremendous sign of bullish divergence as well as bullish reversal at current levels. So I would expect a target of at least 2400 from current levels. And buy would be the recommended from current market price, and stop loss would be placed below 1650 on daily closing basis.
All right, so that was the last stock query for the day. Thanking both the guests, Jigar and Gaurang. Thank you so much for taking the time out and joining us and answering all the questions for us. But before we wrap up this edition of Buy Now Sell Now, let's take stock of how the market is shaping up. Well, the Nifty is holding on pretty above the 24,000 levels, so with gains of 0.5%. So it is managing to hold on to that level at least. But Nifty Bank is a different story. Nifty Bank has given up those morning gains. In fact, it is trading, hovering around the lowest point of the day. It is trading down 274 points from the day's high. Is Nifty Bank. It has slipped into the red, albeit very, very flattish move as of now. But let's talk about the broader end of the market. That is where the outperformance was coming from. In fact, the mid and the small caps were trading with gains of more than 1.5%. And right now, if you pull up the charts for mid and small caps as well, it is still managing to hold on to some gains. In fact, mid cap is still trading up 1.2%. Small caps also trading with gains of 1.5%. So broader end of the market really adding legs to the rally today. But with that, it's a wrap on this edition of Buy Now Sell Now. Kavita and I will take your leave. Thank you so much for tuning in.